Yo, what up, guys, and welcome back for another video. Just like every patch, I always do a day one meta best comps for the first couple days for you guys to climb some LPs. So if you're watching this later, if you're watching this like second week of the patch, please take what I say in this video with a grain of salt. This video is mainly for the best comps to play on like week one meta, because by the weekend, some of these comps might not be what people are playing. But this is what I have seen working on the ladder on day one. I've scouted tons of different players, and also just anecdotally from what I've seen from my games. So that's what we're going to be doing here. Some of these comps are going to be holdovers from last patch, but there are some new comps, and there's also some dead comps that got revived from earlier in the set. So let's just get right into it. So this first one right here is going to be the rat comp. If you see me looking over, I'm just looking at my notes, guys. This is the rat comp. This is a holdover from last patch. If you played last patch at all, you would have seen at the end of the patch, everyone just stopped playing skirmishers and just started playing Hellions just because they're bored. But also, this build is really good. It's super strong. So this is a fast 8, fast 9 build. This is one of the only builds that still like tries to go fast 8, fast 9 on like the current meta that we're playing on. Most of the builds, most of the comps are trying to spike around 7, 6, stuff like that. So this is one of the rare comps that actually wants to fast 8. And you just play this if you have the rat opener. So if you have the Hellion opener with like Ziggs, and then you get the other Hellions, you play it if you have that, and then you start getting items to play the build, and it looks like you're able to push into playing Teemo and stuff like that. Item start for this build is going to be bow tier rod belt. Don't look at Teemo's items and like think you need best in slot on Teemo. Teemo works with a lot of different items. So if you're looking at this and you're like, actually, I think his best build is Rage Blade and Curse Static Shift. Just, dude, okay. Just put attack speed, AP, and mana items on Teemo. Don't think about it too hard. The most important items in this build are actually Kenan's items. It's Cursed Morello and Cursed GA are definitely some of the most important items in this build. The regular versions of these items work just fine, but these ones work a lot better. Okay, now let's talk about what your late game board looks like. So obviously I only have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I only have 7 units on here. The reason why I only have 7 units on here is because the late game build is super flexible. Essentially what you're going to be doing is hopefully you can push to 8 without having to roll on 7. If you need to roll on 7 to stabilize your board, go ahead and do it. But it'll get a little spooky. Go to 8 and then roll it down. Try to find a Teemo. If you don't find a Teemo, just play Karma or Vel'Koz, or you can just keep your current board. But usually you'll be able to find Teemo if you have a lot of gold to roll. You find a Teemo, put the items on Teemo, and then after that, you can just decide what you want to run. You want to keep the 5 Hellions in, gives you a lot of attack speed. It's not bad. If you want to keep the units in, you can also look for Lulu 3. You can do whatever. But the reason why I left this wide open is because you can also play 4 Invokers. You can just drop the Hellions all together and just play 3 Hellions, like just Teemo, Lulu, Kenan, and just play strong units like Garen, Taric, Rel. Or you can just play 4 Invokers. That's great too. You can play Volibear. There's just so much flexibility in this late game, in this comp, in the late game. That's why I just left it right here. But just play around your 5 Hellions and just decide what you want to play late game. That's really the core thing. You can pivot out depending on your items. Like if you have these items and you're not finding Teemo, just play Karma, right? Just play Karma. But you really want to play Teemo. So anyways, all right, that's all I'm going to say about Rat Comp. You guys know the deal. All right, now we have a fresh new comp. This is the 6 Dawnbringer Riven Nidalee Duo Carry. This is a brand new comp. It is so fun. Okay, let me just say, I have been theory crafting this comp for quite some time. This isn't just something I came up with today. I have been for-funning a lot of this set because you guys know how this set's been balanced so far. So I've actually been theory crafting this comp for a while, and I was playing this comp last patch and was finding success with it in like master tier elos. So yeah, let's check it out. All right, the Dawnbringer build. So this is typically a top 4 build unless you're able to actually 3-star something and actually have a duo carry situation going on. Like if you have this setup, you can definitely first place. But if you don't 3-star anything, you can play for top 4 pretty easily, actually. If you saved a lot of HP early game, you can actually play for top 4 without 3-starring anything. But as a win condition, you do really want to 3-star Riven or Nidalee. So item start, you really want Glove. You really want Glove. It's especially if you want to play like one of these variations. If you want to play this variation with Riven and Nidalee as a duo carry, you really want to start Glove. But if you can't get Glove, honestly, the item starts are so flexible. I've played the same board, but I played Karma and Soraka. Like I got AP and mana items, so I just played Karma, Soraka, Garen as like my 3 carry units. You know, kind of like this as a utility carry, this as a damage tank and utility carry, and then Karma as my actual DPS. I don't really like that version a whole lot, but it definitely works. So I have played that version as well. So if you can't get a glove, just take whatever and just, if you want to move into this build, just play whoever you hit the items for. But we're talking about this one. Okay, let me tell you something about this comp. You want a hard roll on 7 for a stable board. And what the stable board will be, the goal of what the board you want to be on this comp is 6 Dawnbringer plus Ivern. Legionnaire is not that important. Don't stress about Legionnaire. You heal so much off a Dawnbringer on Riven, and the attack speed is 25%, which is not that much. So you really want to hit 6 Dawnbringer plus Ivern, roll it hard until you can hit that. Alternatively, if you can't hit a board that looks like that, you can just play 4 Legionnaire, 4 Dawnbringer mid game. A lot of times I'll just be stuck here not finding Karma or Ivern. I'll end up playing that. And then after that, after you hard roll for your stable board and you 2-star like your key units and you get the board going, you need to decide then what you're going to do. So there's 2 paths. After you hard roll and you stabilize mid game, you want to, when you play this comp, you want to be winning stage 4 most of the time. Unless you have a ton of health, it's okay to lose a little bit of stage 4, but you typically want to win stage 4. Kind of like a tempo comp. But after you stabilize your board, you can decide between 2 different things. If you have the econ and it looks like you're able to hit 3 stars, then you stay on 7 and slow roll. You slow roll and you just play the 6 Dawnbringers with Ivern, and then you just hold Mordekaisers on your bench. It feels weird to do, but just trust. You slow roll right there. You can slow roll for 3 stars. That's all good, and that's great. The board is strong on 7. You don't have to go to 8 to spike. But if it doesn't look like you're going to have the econ to hit these 3 stars, or you don't have a lot of health and you're just trying to play for placement and trying to play for top 4, just go to 8, put in Mordekaiser, and just donkey roll every turn until you can find Garen. All that good stuff. Obviously, if you don't have Garen, you just play this item on someone else, and you play Kha'Zix instead of Garen. So you want this board at 7 minus Garen and Mordekaiser, and just have Kha'Zix or whatever. And that's all good there. Cool. That's all I'm going to say about this board. I felt like I talked about it a lot. I will be filming a guide on this board on this board today. Be looking out for that. All right, got an ad right there. Nice. Okay, this next one is going to be A-Bomb Spellweaver. So this is a holdover from last patch. So let's talk about it. So you're going to want to start Tier Belt Rod. It's pretty standard, right? You need Sojin for your Vel'Koz, and you need some type of damage item. And then I really like Blue Buff on Brand, specifically in Spellweaver, for stacking up the Spellweaver stack so that when Vel'Koz gets his cast off, he already has a lot of stacks, and a lot of the front line will be shred. That's why I really like Blue Buff on him, even though it's not very good on the A-Bomb unit. I really, really, really like it still. Yeah. So after these 2 items, don't really pay attention to what's after that. And you can just item hold whoever with these items. Like if you hit these items early, just item hold Victor, item hold this unit, item hold Ziggs. It's fine. You just sell. If you guys want to know more about this A-Bomb build or Spellweaver specifically, I have a 4 Spellweaver guide on my channel that I just made last week, so it's still very relevant. So check that out if you want to check that out. I think it's pretty good. So I won't talk too much about that because I already have a extensive guide on this comp. But what you want to do with this comp though is you want to just like early game, you can just play around whatever you hit, right? You can just play your Spellweavers, you play around Ziggs, you play around Brand, you can play around A-Bomb if you high roll like a Nunu early game, right? And you can just do that, all right? That can be early game. Mid game, you want to roll it down until you hit 4 Spellweaver and a strong comp. On my video for the 4 Spellweavers, I talk about what comps you're looking for Spellweaver mid game, but typically it's going to be 4 Brawlers, 4 Brawlers or A-Bomb, or just big units, right? And then when you end up going to 8, you can decide if you still want to run A-Bomb or not. If you just hit a bunch of big units, like you hit Garen, you hit like a Garen, a 2-star Taric, a 2-star Rel, you can just pivot out of this and just play big units, right? Just don't play Nunu, right? And you just play Rise, Brand, and then big units. You don't, it sucks because you just run these 2 A-Bombs, but A-Bomb's not that important late game. And when you play Spellweaver, we're not playing for A-Bomb to have good items. We just want items on our Spellweavers. That's really what we care about. A-Bomb is there for stall. So other thing you might be noticing is I have Lux on the front line for this build, It's because the way A-bomb works, you need 3 people to die, and if you don't have a third person up here, then it's a hard time. Also, Lux is not bad frontline, and she will shield big time across your whole team because she'll take damage really early. So especially in like Sin matchups, when people jump back here, your Lux will take damage from the front line and throw the spell back there, so it can be really good. All right, moving on. Boom. But yeah, make sure you check out that Spellweaver guide if you want to know more about that build, but if not, do whatever you want. All right, Draconic variations. Okay, don't pay attention to all these units just yet. Just let me talk, okay? Just trust me on this one. So I have this labeled as Draconic variations because there's a lot of different things you can play. I only play this build if I have a Draconic on stage 2. If you want to force this build, you can just roll it down to 0 and 6 and you usually will hit. Especially with the new rolling odds, you'll hit a lot of the units you want. So if you want to force, just roll it down on 6. But I typically only play this if I hit Draconic on stage 2, like I get an Ashe from PvE, and then I just hit the set and the other units, right? Okay, cool. Item start is going to be sword, glove, belt. Ideally, you want to duo carry Ashe and set if you can. But generally, you'll need to lose a lot early game in order to get all of these swords, right? So ideally, you want to be able to duo carry both of these units. If not, it's okay. You just run one of them as a carry. You just run set as a carry or Ashe as a carry. Ashe is definitely the more consistent version of this build. Let me caution you guys. If you're not used to playing Draconic and you don't play a lot of Draconic, this build is pretty dizzy to pick up. Like you get pretty dizzy playing this build. So it's pretty difficult to pick up because there are so many options. So that's why it's a little tough. And then also you have less bench space. It's really weird to run. Ashe is the best solo carry, but just play what you hit, right? I wouldn't play 4 Ranger without Kindred usually, just because you just run Vayne. You just have way too many low value units. You would have you would have Vayne and Varus, which are essentially going to be synergy bots. And if you don't have any items for Aphelios and you play Vayne, Varus, Aphelios, you have 3 synergy bots. So that's kind of not good. So I typically only play 4 Rangers if I have Kindred. If not, I'll just play like Ashe and Aphelios or Ashe and Varus, whatever. It's all good. But I typically wouldn't do that. I would just typically wouldn't run 4 Rangers if I don't have Kindred. I would just run really strong units, really big units like Taric, Rel, stuff like that. Just really strong units. Darius, stuff like that are going to be really good. Be flexible with your late game board. One thing that you might be looking at right here and you're thinking it's kind of weird. Oh, well, 2 things. One thing is Volibear. Volibear actually casts now. So you can actually run a front line of just Volibear, Ivern, just Ivern with no synergies, but just Revenant. It actually provides a lot of front line because Volibear will actually cast now. It's pretty epic. He's a legendary unit. Wow. But yeah, you can add Darius in here if you want Nightbringer, but you already have Set for Armor Shred. One key positioning thing, a lot of times it's really nice to have Ashe and Set on the same side if you're duo carrying because he will shred the armor and then Ashe can finish them off. And then Set can move on and shred some more people's armor. Pretty nice and all that good stuff. I typically don't play 4 Brawler in this build. I will play it mid-game, of course. But past stage 4, I almost never play 4 Brawler. I've tested it extensively. I've played a lot of Set. And a lot of this build, it does not feel good unless you're 3-starring Nunu and playing around Nunu as like a third carry. So yeah, there's a Draconic build, but remember caution, guys. This build is hard to play if you don't like play it normally. All right, now the Aphelios Classic. So you're noticing there's not a whole lot of units here, but it's because this build is incredibly flexible. Caution, I am not certain what the best Aphelios build is this patch, but this one is good for sure. The classic Aphelios build is still great. It's still going to work super awesome. Item start's going to be sword, glove, belt, bow. And we'll talk about Aphelios items in a second. I know you guys are eyeing it. Talk about that in a second. Use early game AD carries for this as a fast build. Like ideally you want to be able to go fast 8, but that's just not really the meta. But just play around your AD carries early game like Kalista, Varus, Vayne, that sort of thing. Set, that sort of thing. And then ideally you want to go fast 8, but if you can't go fast 8, just roll a little bit at 7 for a stable board. If you need to not bleed out so you can get the 8 and get your board online. You can just make a Yasuo mid-game board, which is like a 6 Nightbringer board or 4 Nightbringer Legionnaire board. You can make a Yasuo board mid-game and just put Aphelios items on Yasuo, and it's usually pretty good stage 4 if you have a 2-star Yasuo. And then you just slowly pivot out of and then you slowly push 8 and then pivot out to Aphelios at 8. And at level 8, you can add whatever you want. Same rule applies about the 4 Rangers. I typically don't like running 4 Rangers unless I have Kindred, just because you have way too many synergy bots. So if you hit Kindred, though, 4 Rangers is great. It's really strong. You can play 6 Nightbringer. You can just add high value units. Like you can add a Viego for Sin, and he's just a crazy strong unit. You could add 2 more Knights. You could play 4 Knights. You know, you could add more Mystics. There's a lot of magic damage. You could just play 4 Mystics. You play Mystic Aphelios, that's a good build too. So build's super flexible. A lot of these builds are actually very flexible. Now let's talk about some honorable mentions real quick, and then we'll get out of this. Yo, what up, guys? This is Trajan from the future. I was just editing this video, and I realized I didn't talk about Aphelios' items, because I said, oh, look at his items. I'm like, oh, some spooky stuff going on here. IE, I've seen IE work super well. IE seems to be the best Aphelios item, but I haven't looked at like the numbers on that, and actually, because it's like in TFT, it's like hard to do like math on units, because there's just so much going on, you know, like it just depends on what team comp you're fighting and stuff like that, and what's meta. So, but IE is still great on him. Your second item can be Last Whisper. The only reason I don't have it in this specific setup I'm showing right here is because I have a Darius with Warmogs, right? Obviously, you can't plan for hitting a Darius, so if you just build a Last Whisperer in IE early game, that's fine. That's fine. It's going to be great. But obviously, if you have a Darius with some tank items, you really don't need the item. And that's fine. First Giant Slayer is sleeper OP. It is so sleeper. It is such a good item. But you can play whatever AD items you want here. But I like IE +2. So IE plus, you know, you can play attack speed, you can play BT, you can do whatever. BT is really good against Invokers, like the Teemo build. So if you're playing against like Teemo and Karma, stuff like that, that's going to be really good. But if you're against other like high damage upfront damage builds like Sins and other Aphelios players and Dravens and stuff like that, skirmishers, then BT is not going to be quite as good, because you just want more damage. You want to kill them faster than they're going to kill you. But yeah, so I just wanted to mention that because I forgot to talk about his items. All right, see you guys later. Back to the video. So honorable mentions, Nightbringer Yasuo, playing the 6 Nightbringer Yasuo build. I have no reason why that build would not still be good on this patch. Everybody's rolling on 7. A lot of people are playing for 3 stars. There's no reason to believe that build would not be good this patch, but I just haven't seen it at all. Skirmisher reroll. So no one's playing Skirmisher right now, but a lot of people are rerolling on 7 and playing for 3 stars. I think there's a hidden Skirmisher tech where you reroll for like Lee Sin, Pantheon, Trundle, 3-star. I played 1 game of Skirmishers and I went 8th place, but it was a BG. But I haven't seen people playing that, but I think there's some tech in there. 6 Forgotten Vein, I've seen a couple people play this. I've seen St. Vicious play it. Worked out really well for him, because you can roll on 6 and hit a lot of Hecarims, and essentially you just play for like Hecarim 3, and then Vayne, the standard 6 Forgotten Vein build, and then you kind of like triple carry Vayne, Katarina. You can triple carry Vayne, Katarina, Draven, and then like tank carry as like Hecarim. You know, Sins are great this patch. I didn't add them on here, but Coven Cat is still great. Or you can also play Katarina Nocturne Revenants. Don't play LeBlanc carry. They have nerfed her right into her box she's supposed to be in. She's supposed to be a utility champion. Please just put the items on Katarina if you have those items. But you can play blue buff on LeBlanc as a utility carry. It's still good, but you should not play LeBlanc as your DPS in the Sin comp most of the time. There's a lot of 4 Ranger variations comps, but I kind of talked about that. Reroll Cavaliers are still good with like Spellweavers and all that good stuff. You can actually play like a Ranger tech with Cavaliers. It's pretty cool. Reroll Renewer Vlad. I've seen 1 player play it. I've seen 1 person in my game play it, but I see the tech, you know, stacking like Titans, Archangels. I see the tech. It definitely could be good. Nobody's playing Trundle anymore. So at least right now, no one's playing Trundle anymore. So you can actually build a super tank and not feel bad about it, which is the idea of playing Vlad. You play like Coven Vlad and you super tank him. I have seen 1 person play it. It looked okay. But I don't know. I probably wouldn't go for that build because it's kind of a 1-cost carry build. And then standard Draven build, which is just the 3 Forgotten, 2 Legionnaire strong unit build. So anyways, guys, that's going to be it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm actually really enjoying this patch. This might be the first patch I actually play seriously. I actually try to climb and actually do stuff on. If you guys haven't known, I played the first 3 days of the set like crazy, and it was really fun. And then as soon as the B patch hit, I have not been playing the game that much because it's terrible. The game is terrible. But I have still been scouting the meta for you guys and still playing for fun. But maybe this is the patch, guys. We actually try to climb. And yeah, so appreciate all of you guys. Appreciate you if you made it all the way to this point in the video. By the way, if I'm not playing, that doesn't mean I'm not studying the game, doing all this stuff. I'm studying the game. I'm keeping up. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, but I appreciate all of you guys, and I enjoyed making this video quite a bit. And be looking out for some new guides, and you guys can follow me on Twitch. I will be starting my stream back up this week. Been taking a break while the game has been unplayable. So anyways, appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye-bye. Have a good day. See ya.